NFL Week 4 picks and predictions, man. We got the Detroit Lions going on the road to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Now, I don't know how the hell the Packers were able to come back against the New Orleans Saints, but they did. And Jordan Love, he looks like the truth at quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Now, of course, it hasn't been peaches and cream, but for the most part, he's looked up to snuff. The Detroit Lions right now, they're trying to get out to a fast start to this season, and they really need to win this game if they want to put themselves in prime positioning to be in contention for having home field advantage throughout the playoffs and trying to get that number 1 seed in the NFC. You got to be able to win your rivalry matchups in your division. Green Bay is a talented team, okay? And if Jordan Love plays well, they got a chance at winning this game. And they are playing at home, but I'm going to take Detroit. Defensively, I feel like Detroit has been hit or miss at times. Their defense definitely does look a lot better this season, but I don't know if they're going to stifle the Packers offense. But the Packers got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with, like Christian Watson. You know, he's been banged up. He's missed a lot of time. Aaron Jones is injured. So you really don't know just how healthy the Packers are going into this game. I like the Lions to win. Ravens, Browns. This is a really difficult game to predict. I really don't know who really has the advantage and really what to think about either team. Like, the Ravens lost to the fucking Colts without Anthony Richardson, so that concerns me. All right. And the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson had his best game of his Browns career up to this point against the Tennessee Titans. And the Browns, now that I think of it, their defense has looked really good. And I think they've had the top 5 defense so far this season. And the Ravens offense, I mean, it's been what we expected, but they are dealing with a lot of injuries also. I'm going to take the Browns. I'm not super confident with taking Cleveland to win. But if Deshaun Watson has truly turned the corner and he can keep up that level of performance throughout this season, the Browns not only are going to win this game, but they damn near could win the AFC. Because they got one of the best rosters in all of football. They got a great offensive line, a good group of receivers. You got Jerome Ford, who I think isn't really going to be all that far of a drop-off from Nick Chubb. And this defense is playing at a really high level under new defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. The only question is Deshaun Watson. So if he plays well, there's not really a reason why Cleveland should lose this game. I like them to win. Bengals, Titans. I'm picking Cincinnati to win this game because Tennessee, their offense doesn't have a damn pulse. Ryan Tannehill, I think he's officially hit the cliff. I think Father Time has officially knocked on Ryan Tannehill's door and said, Ryan Tannehill, your time is up. It's time for you to retire. And Tennessee, they don't want to bench Ryan Tannehill because you don't have anything better after him. I mean, Malik Willis, he looked like he was a better quarterback in the preseason, but still, I don't think he's going to be that much better from Ryan Tannehill. And Will Levis, Mayo man, don't even throw him out there. The Bengals, offensively, I still think they struggle in this matchup. Tennessee, their defense has been really good, and that's been the only reason they've had a shot at being able to stay around and win some of these games. But Cincinnati offensively, despite how bad they may play defensively, I don't think Tennessee is going to be able to have success moving the ball against Lou Anarumo and this Cincinnati Bengals defense, man. Like, Cincinnati defensively, they haven't played as great as what they have in the previous years under Lou Anarumo, but against one of the worst performing offenses in the league right now, they should be able to win this game. Now, if Tennessee can get Derrick Henry going and they can find a way to get Ryan Tannehill playing at a serviceable level where he can get D-Hop the football, they can win this game. And Tennessee is definitely a team that you never want to overlook, but with how bad this offense has looked this year, I don't think they're going to have too much success offensively moving the ball. Pittsburgh, I got them beating the Houston Texans. They do have C.J. Stroud playing at a really high level, but the Steelers have Mike Tomlin, who's a defensive-minded coach, and they got T.J. Watt and one of the best defenses in the NFL. So I think that C.J. Stroud, regardless of how much I like him, and how much I'm rooting for Tank Dell to succeed, I think he's going to be in for a really rough afternoon against the Steelers defense. The offensive line has played awful. So CJ Stroud is going to be in for a rude awakening when Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt roll into town. It's going to be a bloodbath out there when the Steelers play the Houston Texans for CJ Stroud. He may make a couple of big throws here and there, but he probably should have a couple of turnovers. He hasn't had a turnover up to this point. I think he has his first turnovers in this game against a really good defense. Offensively, I don't know what the hell to expect from the Steelers offense. I'm just going to take whatever they give us. If the Steelers offense can give us 20 points, I'm not going to complain with that. I know we should expect more, but we got to be realistic, people, as Steeler fans. If this offense can get to 20, it's a blessing by the football gods. Houston's defense, they're not bad, but I don't think their defense is going to stifle the Steelers offense. I do think that Kenny Pickett could hit Calvin Austin, and they can get George Pickens going in this game. The run game probably will be non-existent. That's not really going to change too much, but I still think the Steelers walk away with an ugly victory against a Texans team that is very young and on the up and up. I think the Steelers win 17-13 is my final score prediction. Dolphins, Bills. Man, this is tough. This feels like the game of the week, doesn't it? So let me talk y'all through this. My mindset with this. The Dolphins offense, I think, is legit. Now, they did struggle against the New England Patriots, who do have a really good defense. Vance Joseph is a terrible defensive coordinator, and the Broncos just are a shit show right now. So there's only so much that we can take away from their 70-point performance against the Denver Broncos. It is impressive. You feel me? I'm going to give them that. But they're going against the Bills defense that's playing at a really high level. So you're obviously not going to hang 70 on the Bills. Vic Fangio. I want to see how he game plans for Josh Allen. Josh Allen is super reckless with the football. And the last time the Dolphins played the Bills in the playoffs, they nearly won that game with Skylar Thompson. And if Buffalo has an implosion from Josh Allen, I think that they win this game without a doubt. You cannot turn the football over when you play the Miami Dolphins. Tua takes really good care of the football, and this is a defense that is able to get a good pass rush going with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, and the Bills' offensive line is really questionable. I like the Dolphins to win. I think they're the best team in the NFL. You got Vic Fangio as your defensive coordinator, so I think he should be able to cook up some stops for that defense and force a couple of takeaways on Josh Allen. Broncos, Bears. I'm going to take the Broncos. I know they just gave up 70 to the Miami Dolphins, but the Chicago Bears are awful. They don't got a defense. They don't got an offense. Justin Fields hasn't looked good. This is a must-win game for Chicago and Justin Fields. If Justin Fields doesn't win this game and he doesn't play well, I think they should move on from him. They should bench him and try to trade him before the trade deadline. Russell Wilson hasn't played great, and he has looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, but he's looked better than Justin Fields. So I think that gives Denver the win in this game. They're just a little bit of a slightly better team than Chicago, and they don't got as much turmoil going on like Chicago has. Yeah, they gave up 70 points. It's really embarrassing, but Chicago's defensive coordinator resigned. The play calling didn't improve defensively from Matt Eberflus, and anytime you have a head coach that specializes in one area of the ball, and that area that he specializes in is the worst part of the team, that's a sign that he's not a good head coach. Colts host the Rams. The Rams are coming off a disappointing loss to the Bengals on Monday night where the offense didn't really get much going. They got stifled in the red zone. Indianapolis has been one of the more surprising teams in the NFL. They got a really good defensive front, and they can really get after it. And Anthony Richardson is expected to play in this game. He's been out with a concussion. The Rams defensively, outside of Aaron Donald and Ernest Jones, I don't really know if they really got enough horses to be able to slow down this Anthony Richardson-led offense. With Anthony Richardson, regardless if he doesn't have the best display throwing the football in this game, his rushing ability is something that I don't think too many teams are going to have the personnel to stop. He's 255 and runs 4.43. So he's going to have some plays where he just does some mad crazy bullshit and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, the LA Rams have gotten a really good performance out of Matthew Stafford the first 3 weeks of this year. He's played at a really high level. If the offensive line can play better and they can give him time to throw against Indianapolis, they should win this game. I like the Rams to win. Now, many people are picking the Colts, which I can understand why. The Colts have looked pretty good, but I do think offensively they'll have much success in this game than what they did against Cincinnati. I do think that Matthew Stafford is going to tear up that Colts secondary, and those receivers that they have, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, you may not know how to spell or pronounce those names, but they got some solid receivers. They got a solid team. The Rams could be a potential playoff team. They may not be like a high seed. They're probably going to be competing for the 7th seed in the NFC, but they got a solid squad. I think for Indianapolis, the fact that their season has gotten out to such a great start, despite the whole Jonathan Taylor thing and being able to beat Baltimore without Anthony Richardson, I think, it's a good story, but I do think eventually they're going to start crashing back down to earth. I like the Rams to win this game. We got Bucs Saints. My boy Jameis Winston is in for Derek Carr, who's out with the injury. The Buccaneers got blown out. Well, they didn't get blown out by Philly. They lost to Philly by 2 possessions. They were competitive with Philadelphia. It wasn't that Philadelphia just completely dominated them the whole entire night. Baker Mayfield has played some really good football, but the Saints got a really good defense. But so does Tampa Bay. So who do you trust more at quarterback, Jameis Winston or Baker Mayfield? And the winner of this game is going to improve to 3-1. So there's a lot at stake. The Saints are in danger of falling to 2-2. The Bucs could fall to 2-2, and their seasons could drastically tilt. So whoever's able to win this game puts themselves in the driver's seat in terms of being able to win this division. I'm going to take the Saints to win. The Saints do have a better team, and although I'm not a really big fan of Dennis Allen, I'm not really a big fan of Todd Bowles neither, so I can't really pick a winner based on the coaching advantage. So I got to go with the team that looks like the more talented. The New Orleans Saints got a really good offense. They got one of the best defenses in the NFL right now, and Tampa Bay's defense has played at a really high level, but they weren't able to slow down Philadelphia's offense too much. If New Orleans was to play Philadelphia, I think their defense will have a much better performance. I'm going to take the Saints to get the win. Okay, I don't have a lot of confidence in the Saints winning, but this is a game that kind of can go either way, and they do have the better team, and there's not really too much separating the Buccaneers and the Saints in terms of, talent discrepancy and styles of play. They kind of have similar situations. It's just that one team has a good defense and the other team has a great defense. And the Saints defense, I could see them having a really good afternoon against the Buccaneers, who still are struggling to run the football. We have the Washington Commanders taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, I'm taking the Eagles to win. You guys know that Washington is my sleeper team of the season. I got them making it to the playoffs as a 7th seed, but Sam Howell is coming off a 4-interception performance. I don't think he'll throw 4 picks against Philly, but I do think he'll struggle against a really good defense. And Washington's offensive line is completely dog water. They can't block anybody. They can't block you. They can't block me. And they can't block the defensive line that the Philadelphia Eagles have with Jalen Carter, who's going crazy right now, Nolan Smith, Hassan Reddick. That pass rush is finna get active in this game. Don't be surprised if Sam Howell gets sacked 6 or 7 times in this matchup. I like the Eagles to get the win. I don't really see a way the Commanders can win this game unless this offensive line just pulls a rabbit out of the hat. Chargers over the Raiders. Brandon Staley isn't a good coach, but neither is Josh McDaniels, and the Raiders don't have a defense. Now, the Chargers don't have a defense neither, but at least you know that the Chargers defense can get a couple of stops. The Raiders defense, I don't know if they're going to be able to get Justin Herbert and company off the field. They probably are going to put up 40 on this defense. I mean, there hasn't been a single game where this Chargers offense hasn't held up their end of the bargain. It's really the defense that is holding this team back in Brandon Staley, but you don't really have a head coach on the other sideline that really is going to be able to outcoach Brandon Staley. And with you just having a better team, you should be able to win this game just based on that alone. And the better quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, we're 3 weeks in, and he already leads the NFL in interceptions. Give me the Chargers. The Vikings, I like them to beat the Panthers. Brian Flores going up against Bryce Young. I think that Bryce Young is going to struggle. This offense had a better performance with Andy Dalton in against the Seattle Seahawks, but the Seahawks defense hasn't been good since the Legion of Boom or the Legion of Doom. So against that Minnesota Vikings defense, I expect Bryce Young to struggle, have a couple of turnovers. The Vikings probably get their first win of the season. Cowboys, Patriots. What do you guys make of the Dallas Cowboys loss to the Arizona Cardinals? Do you think it just was a one-off thing? They did have a ton of injuries, but so did the Arizona Cardinals, and losing to one of the least talented teams in the NFL is never acceptable. New England, they're a well-coached team, and they haven't looked bad this year. Mac Jones has looked pretty good under Bill O'Brien. I think this could be a potential upset. All right, and maybe Dallas gets a little bit of reality check in this game. Maybe they're not the team that we think they are. Dak Prescott is a little turnover prone. Offensively, they haven't been great in the red zone. I'm taking New England. I think that New England, defensively, with how good their defense is playing, is going to have a really good game against Dallas offense. They're going to force a couple of takeaways on Dak Prescott. Dak hasn't been all that great, and the Cowboys offense hasn't been as good as what it was under Kellen Moore. And at least offensively, I know that Mac Jones is going to be solid enough that he can get the job done as long as this Patriots defense has a good game. I don't really trust Dak in this game, and I don't trust Mike McCarthy and his play calling against a Bill Belichick coach defense. So give me the New England Patriots with the win over the Cowboys. The last 3 games we got Arizona and San Francisco. Arizona may keep it close with San Fran. I'm still going with the 49ers. Of course, I'm taking the Chiefs over the Jets, man. Like, the Jets, this is about to be an implosion. They don't have an offense. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have an offensive line. Steve Spagnuolo's defense is playing their best football. And then we got the Monday night matchup. We got Seattle taking on the Giants. Now, the Giants right now, they really need this win if they still want to have a shot at making it to the playoffs. Because at 1-3, with how difficult their schedule is, they're not going to be able to bounce back from a 1-3 start. And they're not a bad team, okay? They just are a team that people had too high expectations for based on what happened last year. You know, like, there are people who thought that maybe the Giants would be in a little bit overlooked, but there are also a good amount of people who expected this team to struggle because this is a mid team. They're not a bad team. They're a mid team. They're a middle of the pack team, and they're going against some of the best teams in the NFL, and I think Seattle is one of the NFC's best teams. But they got a chance to win this game because Seattle doesn't have a damn defense. But they do have Jamal Adams coming back. I like Seattle to win, okay? I kind of was leaning the Giants, but I forgot Saquon Barkley is still injured. Now, he's day-to-day, so he could play in this game. But either way, like, I just don't see the New York Giants offensively being able to outscore the Seattle Seahawks offense. And the Giants' defense isn't great. Seattle's offense, they're going to put up points. We know that. But defensively, you know, I think Seattle's defensive line, with how solid their pass rush is, with guys like Darrell Taylor and Uchenna Nwosu, then you're going to have Jamal Adams coming back. I think that they're probably going to be the team. I'll take the win because I think they're getting more crucial stops in this game.